me a thumbs up if y'all can hear me. Okay. All right. We got a lot of people. I'm just looking. There's 3 more. I usually give it to about like 3 minutes past, just so I'm not moderating the ins and outs of the waiting room while we're in the middle of the presentation. So we have more. Okay, good. All right, we can give it about 3 minutes past, and I want to make sure everybody like start testing right now. If you need to check your sound, if you need to check your audio, your video, if everybody can see me, my mic and my camera's on. Do I sound pretty clear? Thumbs up if you do. If I do.
Yes, you're clear.
Perfect. Okay. Double check everything. Can y'all hear my jams in the background? Not really. Okay. Okay. Give it a couple more minutes. Usually I give it to right about 2:03. Just test all your stuff, make sure everything's working. Go 2, 1 more minute. And I've got a few people requesting. Give me just a second. I'll send a few more out. Okay. Letting the last one in. And hopefully we don't get bombarded here in a minute. Save, send. Okay, that's done. Okay, I'm done with that. No more. Okay. Da 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 da. Here we go. So I'm gonna turn off my jams and let's go ahead and get started. I will be letting people in the room. I'm just not going to be checking my Facebook Messenger or any other email or anything from here on out. They're done. If they're in, they're in. If they're not, they're not. It is what it is by now. So first off, I bring energy. It's a little bit different doing this on a Zoom. I'm usually in front of a room full of people. Now the world has gone to a different place and Zooms are perfectly acceptable. So I'm okay with that. I do like energy. I like to see cameras on as much as we can. I like to be engaged, all that good stuff. And I'll give you, first off, what I like to do. I don't know everybody on here. I know this got pushed out to a lot of different places. I had 200 people request, like 70 something people are going to make it in typical real estate agent fashion, like 30 something people are on, 46 people are on. Y'all know how that is. If I would have had a barbecue or something for y'all, every real estate agent would have shown up to this thing. But we're on Zoom, we're moving. What I would like to do to start off, so we do in every one of my meetings at my office with our team, is we start off with gratitude. Like, I want to hear one thing you're grateful for. Keep it short, keep it clean, keep it simple. What are you grateful for today? I want to hear from 3 different people, probably people that I don't know and I've never met, and that's perfectly fine.
Hey, this is Ro, and I'm from Houston, and I'm grateful for life today.
Let's go. We're on the right side of the dirt today, so we're happy, right?
Yep.
Good deal. All right, I need 2 more. I need 2 more people to tell me what.
For you.
Go for it. What you got?
And this one goes to you. I'm grateful for people who don't gatekeep.
What is? Tell me what gatekeep is. I want some definition here.
When you find success in something and then you keep the recipe to yourself.
And I'm going to tell you, it hasn't. I've been that way. I've been real abundant for a really long time in my life, but I will tell you, there are certain things that I'm like, that's my secret recipe. Like deep down, I'm like, I don't know if I should share that with people. There are people here that are in Houston, in my market, and later on, I'm going to give one of a script that I freaking created that has made me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Freaking game changer if you use it the right way. And it's funny because I only put it out like once or twice here and there. And one time a guy from New York, he calls me and he says, I used your script and I got a $1.2 million listing. It's amazing. And I was like, let's go, man. So, but now I'm at the point where it's just like, just give it all away. You can't outgive God. It's going to happen anyways. Like, open your doors, open your box, show everybody everything. It's going to figure itself out. So we just roll. So I need one more. I need one more gratitude. What are you grateful for today? I know we got some.
You kind of know me, but I'll go.
So Gail, go first, and then we'll go Michelle, and then we'll roll out.
I don't know if I'm the Gail you're talking to, but I'm very happy to be and grateful to be healthy.
That's it, guys. It is a blessing to be healthy right now. We all probably know people or are close to someone who's come down with COVID. Maybe you've lost some people. I'll say, just right now, quick moment of silence, a little bit of prayer. I understand that type of stuff. It's painful. If you are healthy, you are blessed. If your family is healthy, you are blessed. So that's freaking awesome. Michelle, what you got? What are you grateful for?
Well, I just today I'm thankful to be in Galveston, Texas. It's been a dream of mine and my husband's for about 10 years, and we made it happen. So happy every day to be here.
Let's go. I love that. I'm high energy. I love cheering people on. I love seeing people win. I don't care where you're at, what you're doing. I want you to win. So without further ado, let's knock this thing out. So I've got 2 hours to fit probably 5 to 10 or 3 days worth of information in. So I'm going to hit the high points. I narrowed it down as much as I possibly could. First off, some of you know me, some of you don't. My name is Ozzie Ramirez, just a regular dude from Houston, Texas. I run a team. We do pretty good numbers. I'm very proud of my people. I am blessed. I get in business with the best people, and then I just get the heck out of their way and let them do what they do. Because most of the time, if I stay in the way, I'm gonna screw it all up. So that's what I figured out. That's part of the recipe. And I'll get started. So back in 2014, it was November of 2014. We stay brand agnostic, but I had a KW Maps coach. She was freaking amazing. And she challenged me. What happened with me was sometimes, and I do this, and I think a lot of us tend to do this time to time as we start to see success. I was talking a mean game, but I wasn't 100% living up to it, right? I was talking about the future and what's going to happen, all these things. And honestly, she called me out. She basically said, Ozzie, her name is Jeannie Osnes. She said, Ozzie, you talk a mean game, but you're not living up to your hype right now. Like your numbers aren't living up to your hype. And at that moment, it felt like a freaking insult. But what she was really saying was your potential's here and the way you're performing is here. Your potential's here and your action is here. So when I figured out what she was saying and realized that I shouldn't be offended, I should be proud of what she was saying, I was actually in a course called Bold, and it's different now than it used to be. If any of you were back in the day, KW people or whatever, and you went to Bold courses, you know that they used to give you this dialer. There was a dialer called Arch Agent. And it was crazy because I'd never cold called. I'd never done any of that stuff. I was basically a guy who drank beer with people and then they sold houses with me. It was fantastic. It was a great way to run a business. But I learned about this dialer called Arch Agent. I'm in this class. They teach me about it and they give you some basic scripts. And I to that point, if you said scripts, I was like everybody else. It's canned. You sound like a robot. I don't want to do that. When I actually began to understand like what it was, like what a true script is, I'm gonna go ahead and shatter a lot of myths and a lot of mentality shifts that some of you people need. Some of you say, I do not use scripts. I will not script. I do want to sound canned or like a robot. I'm gonna go ahead and break your heart real quick. You ready? Here's the deal. Every one of you uses scripts. Every one of you. I don't care who you are, you do. You know how I know the original script is the one you learned when you were like in elementary school when you're like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. That's a script. Somebody created a language with letters, put them together and said, say it like this. And now you have words and now you have meaning and now you can communicate on a higher level. That's a script. That's all the script is somebody before you created a language that works and effective communication. They hand it to you, you practice it, you make it your own, and now you have scripts that work for you. We all have scripts. Like, have you ever had, some of y'all have the buddy who says, another day, another dollar, living the dream, blessed by the best, good day, how are you, hello. Those are scripts. So we all have them. So go ahead and just go ahead and put down your knives and your pitchforks and all that stuff and put down your guard. Because we use scripts, you might as well just start to adopt some languages and some scripts that are going to help you become better. And we are going to go through some of those later on today. So my coach challenged me. There was a course by a guy named Craig Rieger back in the day, and it was 90 listings in 90 days. I met the guy, we talked. He and about 2 or 3 people took 86 listings in 90 days. He created the course. It was fantastic. I actually did the 92 listings in 90 days before I ever took the course. But I got to meet Craig Rieger and we got to compare notes. The crazy difference is when I did it, I did not have a team. I basically had a buyer's agent and a transaction coordinator. Every listing appointment was set by me. Every listing appointment was gone on by me, taken by me, signed by me, entered by me. It was pretty much a solo effort on building these listings. What I will tell you is it wasn't so much the listings that changed my life. It was the process that I went through to get the listings. It was a process I went through of growth. So since then, I've never gone back. I've never gone back in mentality. I've never gone back in the size of my team. We have continued to grow and flourish, and we are growing even more as we speak. And those are the messages and the lessons that I really want you guys to get here. So with that being said, I'm going to break it down to some of the bears of it all. And I say these things and I say it on purpose, right? Diana Kokoska once said this to me. Everybody wants to know the what or the how. What did you use? How did you do it? What were the tools? All these different things. That's fantastic. We're going to get down to all that. The truth of the matter is, until you get to the why, until you get to the belief systems and the mentality behind it, this is going to hurt your feelings again. There's a good chance there's 55 people on here right now. 50 of you may do something with what I tell you today. The other 5 aren't going to do crap. And I said it like that on purpose because I'm hoping, because there's 5 of you right now that are like, screw you, Ozzie, I'm the one. I'm the one. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to do this. I don't believe you. I hope that I just pissed off another 5 to 10 of you so that 15, 20, or 30 of you get off your butts, get into action, and start feeding your family at a higher level. Start understanding there's different tools and different ways. With me and my team, like what I love about it is when people come on board, they have their ideology around lead generation and building business and all that stuff. And that's great. A lot of it is built around the farming methods, like farming methods that you would use in social media, farming methods you'd use in neighborhoods and SOI and database building and things like that. Those are things you should probably never stop doing. Continue doing those things. Part of what we are going to learn today is the mentality. The other part is understanding that there's some times in this business when you don't have time to grow the tree, water the tree, feed it, and then wait for it to bear fruit. There's times when you got to pick up your gun and you got to go hunt. Can we agree on that? There's times when you're like, I need a closing. We got to make this crap happen. We're going to cover some of that as well today. So the journey of going through the 92 listings in 90 days, the first like month was gangbusters, guys. I get on it. I get on the phone. I'd never cold called before. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was not afraid of anything. I really didn't care. I didn't care if people cussed at me. I didn't care about any of that stuff. Well, I pick up 47 listings in my first 30 days. That sounds ridiculous. Yes, 47 listings in my first 30 days. But it was in November 1st that I started. So we start hitting in that before Christmas, after Thanksgiving. And I'm not going to throw any kind of stigma around the holiday season, but some people slow down, right? They're like, I'm going to be with my family. I don't want to look at my house. It's Christmas and all these other things. Things slow down a little bit. Some people get frustrated when you're calling them a lot. What happened with me for about 2 weeks, to be honest with you, is I did not get a stinking appointment. What I learned in those 2 weeks where I didn't get an appointment was more valuable than anything else in the situation. I actually developed what we call the 5 pillars, and we're going to go over those 5 pillars. What I will tell you, like the greatest lesson I learned in there was that my ego got big. My head got too big. I was too much about me. I thought I was somebody special. And I'm telling you, you can call it God or not, but he slapped me down. He said, boy, you're getting too big for your britches. And I had to realize like that was my problem. I was too busy on the phone trying to get an appointment, make money, and go brag about how many listings I'm taking, instead of slowing down and saying, I'm not on the phone for me and my appointments and my money. I'm on the phone and I'm helping these people and calling these people because they need something. I have something of value. I need to give it to them. I need to completely give it to them. Regardless if I make a commission, get an appointment, make a sale, I'm going to give them everything I got. Sometimes it's just I would get in a call and an old lady would just start crying and tell me about her kids hadn't called her in forever. And that was the purpose of the call. And by the end of the call, I realized I didn't call her about a listing. I called her because she needed somebody to talk to her. There was times when I got on the phone with people and there was a guy that he was going through a divorce, and oh man, he hated his wife, ex-wife, or whatever it was. And we just talked. I'd never been through a divorce. I didn't know what this dude was talking about, but I was there for him. And when I began to slow down and realize it wasn't about the appointment, it was about building relationships. It was about helping God's people. It was about being there for somebody no matter what they need. It could have been they need a contract. Well, I need a painter. Oh, okay, cool. I got you. Let me hook you up. But when you take your ego out of it and you take this vicious pursuit of appointments for money and for closings, that's where my life completely changed. And that's a big part of what I'm going to get into in a lot of this conversation. So let's talk about it. Our opportunity here with what we get to do, guys, when somebody hires you to be their real estate agent, whether it's to buy a house or it's a list a house or whatever, can we all agree that there's got to be a pretty strong amount of trust for somebody to put that faith in you? Give me a head nod if you, yeah. They got to trust you. They're going to let you into their finances, right? You start learning about how much money they're making. You end up probably seeing some credit type stuff. You have those conversations. You learn so much about people in this process. So there's got to be a level of trust there. So with that being said, especially on listings, when you get a call on a listing, people are inviting you to sit at their coffee tables and their dinner tables, some of the most intimate places in a person's home. They're going to invite you there. Eventually, when you get the listing, you'll see the master bedroom too, right? You'll see all these things. It's a very intimate setting. With that, we have to understand with the trust and that intimate setting, people are allowing you into their lives. And when they allow you into their life, you have an obligation not to be just a dang real estate agent. You have an obligation to be a consultant. You have an obligation to put their best interests above yours. You have an obligation to be 100% honest, truth up front about everything, like lay it on the table and let them make a decision, even if it means they don't hire you, even if it means that they don't list the property at all and they don't sell and they decide they need to stay there. These are some of the most valuable lessons. And what I talk about is it's almost like it's more of a ministry where we get to go into people's house and we get to have great conversations with them because they trust us and they're letting us in. That's a big damn deal. Do not take that for granted, guys. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to break into the next part. So we have what's called habit skill pipeline. I preach this and you should write this down. Habit skill pipeline. What I've learned in this industry and what I learned through this process was it wasn't nearly about how much skill or how much talent I have. It got me down to the basics of habit. Because I can't tell you how many times I got hung up on, cussed on, just forgot about or whatever. The only thing that carries you through those times is a habit. You got to have a good habit. And I'll compare it to losing weight. I didn't get nice and chubby and sexy like I am right now from eating one damn hamburger, right? That's not the way this works. I ate many hamburgers on many different days and I didn't choose the right thing and I didn't drink the water and I didn't exercise. Those are my habits. My habits become what shows up on the scale when I step on the dang thing. And I may not be happy with that. So many people, they get in this business and they believe like this is one of the biggest killers and people, it hurts people's feelings sometimes that they say, well, I've got the gift of gab. I get along with everyone. I love talking to people and I've never met a stranger. And I'm like, that's awesome. I think it can serve you and I think it's a skill that can help you. However, if your habits suck, it does not matter because I've met some of the most charismatic, amazing salespeople and they go through that. Y'all seen that roller coaster? 2 closings, no closings, 4 closings, 2 closings, 2 months with no closings where it just gets painful. And that's all built on one thing. It's habit. You didn't build consistency. So focus on your habits, and the habits is around activity, right? And the activity isn't necessarily tied fully to the outcome. What I mean by that, it's going to sound crazy. I can have a day where I make $100,000. I close $100,000 worth of deals. I have a day where I get 2 or 3 closings or whatever it is, and I cash big checks, and it's fantastic. And yes, we should celebrate that because it's a victory, because this is a hard job. It's difficult to stay in this thing, right? Yet on those days, the day isn't a win unless I lead generated as much as I was supposed to that day. I don't care if I cashed 30,000 in checks. If I didn't lead generate that day, I did not win, because that's what habit is. I've built a habit that has an anxiety around not lead generating every day. Therefore, my paychecks are consistent where a lot of real estate agents aren't. First, you build a habit. Crazy thing is if you stay in that habit enough and you continue having those conversations over and over and you continue developing relationships, following up with human beings, you'll develop a skill. The skill of the conversation, the skill of how to ask questions, the skill how to listen to human beings when they're talking. Like active listening is one of the most powerful skills in the world, and we don't talk about it enough. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Ask a good question, shut the hell up. I learned this lesson a long, long time ago because I convinced my wife this is worth falling in love with, like all this right here, right? And every day I got a reseller because I outkicked my coverage, and I'm telling you right now, she's way better than I ever should have had. But I had to learn. If I want to work my way into this woman's heart, I've got to ask questions, listen, ask questions, listen. Crazy thing is on our first date, I may have said like 5, 10, 20 words. She spoke the whole time. And I bet you she was telling everybody, he is such a great conversationalist. This guy is just the greatest. It was just an amazing conversation. I didn't say hardly a word. I just let her talk. And that's one of those things, those skills that you're breeding from that habit, they become life-changing, right? If you learn to be a really good active listener in your sales role, when you're practicing, when you're being a consultant for these people, you can take that home and you can have better conversation with your kids, your wife, everywhere. So you're building a habit that builds a skill. And it's got to be in this order, guys. If your habit ain't right, ain't nothing right. The foundation has to be proper. Habits right, skill starts to come, it breeds a pipeline. If you ever start to have any problems, typically it's not because your skill after a long term, because you probably developed skills over years. It's because you go back to your habit and your habit sucks. So always remember that: habit first, skill second, pipeline. You pair them all together and you got a winning combination. Now, I like to cover all kinds of mentalities. Before we get into details, I like to make sure we understand what is truly going to make us successful in this industry and kind of ideologies why people fail and don't make it. So I call one is the real estate license mentality versus the college mentality. I got out of high school and I had friends that were going to college. I'll be honest with you, I really didn't have parents coming out of high school. I was lost. I didn't believe college was for me. I just felt like instant loser. Because the society we're in, and I'm one of them, we're probably all part of it. Society says, get out of high school, go to college, go to 4-year degree, right? Go to a 4-year school, get you a degree, pay $20,000, $30,000 a semester, go into debt. Like that's what we're told. That's what this is kind of where the crap we're being fed over time, right? Which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If you got a degree, kudos to you, fantastic. I don't. What I'm doing is a basis of comparison to the mentality that we see in real estate as an entrepreneur and as business people. The world tells you, go to college, go to school, get into debt. If I told you the same thing about college, about real estate, you would slap me or you'd lose your mind. People would be like, oh, hell no. If I told you, here's what's going to happen in real estate, guys. You're going to get your license. Your first 4 years, you're going to pay $20,000 a year. 20. You're not going to make any money. You might have to work at the bookstore, right? You might have to go crack your head against the wall playing college football to get your degree, right? You might have to go in debt up to your ears. And then when you get out of real estate college, you're going to go to work at like a decent job, making 30, 40,000 a year. You won't be able to pay off your debts then. It'll take you another 10 years to get back on top. If we said the same thing about college we said about real estate, people go crazy. Why do we have this mentality around college? And then we talk about being a real estate agent and an entrepreneur, people tuck tail and run in their first year and a half. Statistics. Most agents fail in their first 18 months. 83% of all agents get out of the business in their first 18 months, right? And nobody's saying, hey, stick it out. You got to go another 2.5 years to get your real estate degree before you go into bigger debt. And then you end up making money eventually. Nobody says that. When I was failing and when I started this business, they're like, go back to the restaurant. I worked for Papacitos for 6 years. So I did straight out of high school, right? Go back to a restaurant, go back and get you, steady paycheck. That's an honorable job. Quit on yourself, right? It's crazy, the two mentalities. And I want you to understand that. You need to begin thinking about this industry and this business and being an entrepreneur like you would think about college. First, you're going to work to learn, then you're going to work to earn. Some of you jump in here, you don't start making money. Guess what? You haven't paid your damn dues and nobody owes you anything. Quit your crying, put your head down and get to work. All right? I say mean things sometimes. I'm sorry, guys. We give up too easy. And one of the ones, so this is a very common thing I really like to talk about is human beings and our belief in ourselves, right? I cannot tell you how many people have come to me and I can just feel like they're oozing with this lack of confidence, right? They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe they're worthy. It's a really sad thing. I believe it's one of the worst epidemics in the world. How many of you guys, you don't all have to raise your hand, but how many of you guys believe that you grew up in a culture that was less than positive? It was negative, right? Maybe your parents didn't say they were proud of you. Maybe you didn't hear I love you enough. Maybe when you thought you were doing good, somebody was like, oh, you suck. You're no good. Maybe you're adopted. And you just feel like my birth parents didn't want me anymore. Right? So most of us going into this, we have these negative programmings in our mind that bring us to being 41 years old and not believing in yourself or whatever. And most of the time, all we need to do is we need a reprogramming. It's a reprogramming. We talk about affirmations on our team every day. We're reprogramming our mind. I am enough. I am worthy. I am loved. We have to work on those things. And we've gone through a whole lot of mentality on this conversation so far. So now we're going to get into just the different steps of growth and understanding. So in business, what I would say some of the most important, let me let these people in. Some of the most important things to understand is when you get into business to get started, every single business, no matter what you do, there's two sides of your business, right? So if you're an attorney, you've got the lead generation business, and then you got to be a really good attorney business, right? Does that make sense? Some of y'all are looking at me crazy, but you have the lead generation business, attorney business. You're a doctor. You have the lead generation business and the actual operating on bodies. Here's the crazy thing. If you're an attorney, you go to Harvard, you pass your bar exam, and you have no clients, you're just a really educated ass broke person, right? You're a doctor, right? They joke about that all the time. In a class of doctors, there's head of the class and there's a dude who still is a doctor who was dead last in his class. He's still operating. The crazy thing is the dude that dead last has the same opportunity if he lead generates properly, right? If he wants to form his own practice and go get enough business. Now, the mentality around real estate when we look at things is, and I hear this a lot, and I feel like this is a broken mentality. You may disagree, you may not disagree, you may not agree with me, whatever it is. Here's the deal. I'm a firm believer that quantity will breed quality. Quantity will breed quality. What do I mean by that? I come across agents who, I've met agents where they say, my conversion rate on my listings is 100%. I've been on 10 listing appointments in the past 2 years and I've taken all of them. And I'm like, that's awesome. I've been on 100 and I'm at like 70, right? And they're like, so I'm better than you. And I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this, not necessarily true. Because here's the deal is, if I've been on 100 listing presentations, argue with me if you want to, but isn't it safe to say that through just basic practice, trial and error and practice, that I've gotten better at a listing presentation than the person who's only been on 10? Can we agree on that? Or am I crazy? I think we can agree on that, right? So understand that. It's about quantity and it'll breed quality. The fact that I've closed over 1,500 deals means I've seen more stuff than you, means I have more solutions than most people, means I can bring better service to my people, because when crap gets hard, I know what to do. When an agent who's only closed 10 or 15, crap gets hard, they throw their hands up. I don't even know what to do with this. Is that servicing the client properly? I don't think so. So understand that quantity breeds quality. So a lot of people that when they first get in the business are like, I'm only going to meet with qualified individuals who are pre-approved. You are not allowed in my office unless you are fully pre-approved and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. When you're new, you should meet with any damn person who wants to sit down with you. I don't care if they've got the most boo-boo credit in the world. You need to sit down with them. And I can say boo-boo credit because I was king of the boo-boo credit back in the day, right? I get it. I totally get it. Sit down with them. What's the worst that's going to happen? You develop a relationship? What's the worst that's going to happen? You spend your time, build trust with someone, and they refer you more people? That's horrible. Why would you do that? What's the worst that's going to happen? You actually sat down and treated them like a human being when 8 other real estate agents put their hand up and wouldn't give them the time of day. That's horrible. Don't do that. Quantity equals quality. Just have the damn appointment, have the conversation. Every time you're going to get better at what you're doing. So push through. Moving on. First, you work on sales. Then you work on running it like a business. How many of you guys track how many calls you're making? Track how many conversations you have? How many times you take people out to lunch a week? How many times do you send a text message saying, hey, I was just thinking about you? How many of you track how many appointments you go on? The ones you lose, the one you get. If you're not tracking it and running it like a business, how can you create a predictable outcome for your actions? I know for me, if I'm circle prospecting, 1 in every 100 will be a quality conversation that I actually get a good appointment on. Expireds, 1 in every 12. For sale by owners, 1 in every 4. I will take 50% of every for sale by owner that I go on. I'll take 50% of every expired that I go on. And circle prospecting, those ones I really haven't figured out because it's such a long turn from 100 to 1 to the actual appointment. It's hard to figure the conversion on that because when I realized I could go fishing a lot quicker, go hunting a lot quicker, if sale by owner expired, I ran for that. So next part up is understanding. So when we talk about the relationship side, like I was just saying, meet with people, go on the appointments, all that stuff. I always talk about this. So me as a human being, I only invest in 2 things. I'm not knocking anything else. You want to invest in a smart stock market, go for it. You want to invest in crypto, do your thing. I invest in two things, human beings and real estate. That's what I love. If you take that mentality when it comes to investing in human beings and giving them everything you got, having the buyer consultation, no matter what their credit is, all those different things, what you can effectively do is you can build what I call human capital. Him and each one of those 100 people, let's say for every 10 of those 100 people, they send you the name of one person because you built a relationship with them. You've built a 100-person sales army. Do that consistently year after year, and you will build you thousands and thousands of people in a sales army. So stay in communication with those people. Don't give up on people. Build those human capital, the true relationships. Now, more lessons. So preparation, guys. One of the biggest things I see for people whenever they don't lead generate properly, they don't stick in lead generation, they think it's, well, I don't have all the numbers to call and I don't know the scripts and all these things. I'll tell you, those aren't the number one reasons why people fail. They fail because they don't plan properly. And what do I mean by that? The night before, did you go to sleep at a good time? Are you staying up to all hours of the night? Are you waking up at a good time to get up and get your butt to work? Are you going to places that are going to be productive for you, that are going to help you stay in the work? Sometimes I'm in my home office right now. Sometimes working from home is bad. During the summer for me, I've got 4 kids and it's just, I got footballs getting thrown at my head. Like it's crazy. It doesn't work. Are you creating a bunker? Are you creating a place to protect you and who you are? And a bunker is more than just a place and like human interactions around that stuff. A bunker is also expectation. So if you go to your office and you're working and you're in an office of, some of you guys are KW, some of you guys are so wherever you're at, if you're around different groups of people where let's say there's 100 people in your office and you're in there and you're trying to get your lead gen, it's 9 to 11, I'm doing my lead gen, and the guy next to you in the next cubicle or whatever is not disciplined like you, and he's looking over, hey Erica, hey Kristen, hey, what are y'all doing today? What are y'all gonna do for lunch? What are you doing? And you're going to blame him. Why are you bothering me? And the truth of the matter is, number one, you didn't build your bunker. Number two, you didn't set expectation. I remember there was a time when I first started getting into this lead generation journey where people would come up to me and I didn't lose that person as a friend. It kind of made things a little rocky for a little bit. But another real estate agent was bothering me during lead gen. And I said, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? This is my lead gen time. I feed my family and I live my dreams right now. And I said, you're effing that up. And we're in the office too. So everybody, ooh. I'm like, you're effing that up, man. Like, don't do this to me. In fact, I'm going to take a stand for you. Do you believe what you're doing right now is productive for your wife and your kids? If your wife knew you're in here jacking around asking me about lunch when you should be generating business to feed your family and paying your light bills, would she be cool with what you're doing? No, get your butt on the phone. Leave me alone. I got things to do. When people understand that expectation, they understand what you stand for. You've protected your time. You've protected what you need to focus on. Because the truth of the matter is, it is a lot about lead generation, but and protecting that time, but it's not. What I mean by that is, if we all had our dream life, if we got to live our dream life, I'm gonna tell you right now, I would not be selling real estate. Like, I mean, a dream life, I'd be on a beach, sipping pina coladas, me and my wife, chilling. It'd be amazing. I wouldn't work, wouldn't do nothing. My kids be like fishing and stuff. Like I love you, but I would not be on this damn conversation right now if I got to live 100% my dream life. And I say that as a point. Every single one of you has a dream life and a vision for that dream life, right? Nobody, when you grow up as a kid, says, I want to be a real estate agent and work 70 hours a week. Yeah, that's not how it works. And to be honest with you, as much as our office mates and people on the screen and all the people around us, as much as we love them and we tell them we are a culture and we love each other and we fight for each other and all that stuff, here's the deal. If you had a choice between that person, unless you're married to that person, if you had a choice between that person in the cubicle next to you at your office and your wife, like spending the day, right? Or your kids or your mom or something, where would you rather be? With your wife or your kids or your husband or your family, like the people that you like committed to, you put the ring on for them and all that stuff, right? That's where you would be. Guess what? You've sacrificed your time with them to come and be at this office and do work. Why are you jacking around with cooler talk and bothering people about where you're going to lunch when you should be doing the work? Every minute at your office that you waste costs you an hour with your significant other, costs you an hour with your kids. Stop wasting that time and get purposeful. Protect your time. Everybody got that one? I paused for effect, right? I want to make sure that sunk in just a little bit. We understood what the heck I was talking about right now. Now, we talk about protecting lead time, lead gen time and all that stuff. So now you're protecting lead gen time. You're starting to build a habit. Now, if you're doing lead gen every day from 9 to 11, maybe more, maybe you're going to 12 or 1 and you're really staying at it. Do you want to be mediocre in real estate? Or do you want to be the best of the best? Do you want to be your best version of yourself in real estate? Do you want to be the all-star and the MVP? Do you want to hoist the championship trophy? What do you want to do with your real estate career? If you're going to put the time in, do you want it to be crappy or do you want to be amazing? And if you say crappy, go ahead and get the hell off this call right now. I'm cool with that. But if you want to be the best version of yourself within the real estate world for you and your family, you need to make sure that you are practicing like an MVP and an all-star and a champion. Are you practicing your script practice and role play? Are you practicing your conversation? Are you doing your research to know what to say, what to say when you're getting on the call with these people? And don't do it during 9 to 11 your lead gen. That's outside of lead gen time that you should be doing that stuff. Work on your conversation. At the end of this call, towards the end, we are going to do a script practice and role play. I'm going to script practice and role play with some people. You're going to hear my different conversations. And I'm going to let you be the judge if you think I've practiced this crap or not. All right. Now we're going to get into my favorite part. And I'm going to send this out to everybody. I have everybody's emails. I'll email this out to everybody so everybody doesn't have to ask me for it because I know what's going to happen. This is what we call the 5 pillars. 5 pillars. As I went through this process, I came up with these 5 pillars that really, throughout the old process, these are the things I narrow down to say, if I do all these things and I'm meeting all these things properly, I'm going to be lead generating and converting and building business at the highest level. Pillar number 1, guys, and this, some of us, we don't spend enough time on this. I think we kind of brush by this, is you got to know your big why. And When I say big why, I don't want you to miss me. Yes, you need to know your big why. What do I want to accomplish in the next 5 to 10 years? If I live my dream life with me and my wife and my family in the next 5 to 10 years, what would it look like? That's great. Great big why. Some of us, the big why is out there. Keep that going. Keep that vision going. And some of us, we have a block right in front of us today where we can't see the big why, or it's hard to even talk about the big why sometimes. I got debt, Ozzie. I got credit card debt. I've got student loan payments I got to keep up with. I just came out of nasty divorce, right? I've got this. I've got to pay for private school because the neighborhood we in. I got to buy a house. Like everybody's got something different. Some of it's, I've never been to Disneyland. I'm going to take my kids to Disneyland as an adult. Whatever that is. We all have that one thing that's right here. I'm going to challenge you to think about what that thing is. And it's something you think about a lot. Like right now, I can tell you what mine is. I need to redo this damn bathroom. We gutted it and I have not remodeled it yet. So we're sharing a bathroom with my kids and I do not like it. So, and my problem is if I don't map it out, I won't get it done. So we remodeled our whole downstairs last year because I mapped it out and I modeled it and I did all this crap. So what is your big why? What's your reasoning for getting out of the bed in the morning? Because here's the deal. You're an entrepreneur. You're an independent contractor. Does anybody crack the whip on you and they're like, you got to go to work right now, unless it's your spouse or something like that. But nobody else, like you're your own boss. That's another sad thing. Some of you guys came from like a 9-to-5 job, a corporate job. You work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You killed yourself for this company and then you got fired. Or you got laid off in some kind of downsize. You worked your ass off for a company that don't give a damn about you. And then you come into real estate and you're working 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week. I want freedom. I want all this stuff. I get it. I hear the words, I want to make more money. I want freedom. I hear that a million times a year. Here's the deal. You want freedom? Be disciplined to do the right things at the right time and you can buy your freedom. We'll say it again. Be disciplined enough to do the right things at the right time and you can buy your freedom. Until you do that, guess what? You have no freedom. You're going to be victim to everything else. Oh, the light's getting cut off. Oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. Control your time and be disciplined. So with your big why, what is it? Are you in tune with it? Do you know what it is? Some of us were running from a troubled past and some of us were running towards a dream. And some of us were kind of in the middle, like we mix and match or whatever. And I'm going to get deep and I'm going to walk through mine with you because I love covering it for myself because I need to rehear this crap because sometimes I'm not motivated enough and I don't do what I'm supposed to do. But also it gives you an idea of a journey that maybe you can take with yourself for you to dig down. Some of you on this call are being burnt out right now. Let's not try to run from the truth. Some of you are like, I'm tired, man. I'm tired of real estate. My passion was here 6 months ago, but I don't feel it right now. I'm not getting the output I wanted. I'm not getting what I want to out of it. I don't get to see my husband and my kids and the money's not there. Like, why am I doing this? Be real. So we got to dig back down and we got to find, like, why are we doing this? So my big why, and that's why I love being on this call. And I love that we've got this many freaking people paying attention because I'm going to tell you right now, you guys are my blessing more than I'm ever going to bless you. Being here today, you're my blessing. And I'll explain it to you. So my big why is a story I came up with when I was about 21. So at about 21, I believe that I was like a piece of glitter, right? And I'll backtrack before I get to this. So my birth mother, we are first generation American, right? She came over, undocumented, call it whatever you want to, right? Yeah, I'm maybe an anchor baby, I don't know, right? But I came here, she made some decisions that took herself out of my life. And it was my birth father, and we lived in this trailer park. You know where Telephone Road is? King Trailer Park on Telephone Road is one of the roughest part of Houston, Texas, right? We had King's Trailer Park, right? And there's two trailers next to each other. And my dad met a woman and they started to fall in love. Some point or another, my dad decided that he wasn't going to be as involved anymore. So I had this woman, it was a redheaded Irish woman. She became my mom and she started raising me. she volunteered to be in my life. So there were two of us. I had two white brothers and I had my Mexican brothers, me and my brother Angel, and there's Ricky and Andy. And when I was about 5, Ricky passed away. He got killed by a drunk diver. He was 18. And I remember my mom being in a lot of pain. And as I get older, like I forgot about a lot of it, but my brothers will tell me, like, you don't remember, mom locked herself in the room and she wouldn't talk to us for days. And it was painful, but you know, me as a kid, I'm like, no, she was an angel. That never happened. She was always there. Like, you forget about these things. Well, fast forward, and the woman that combed my hair till I was in 8th grade, because I was such a sissy, you know, I came home my senior year, about 17 years old, and I found her. She had died in her house. And at that point, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, where am I going to go? What is going to happen here? And I'm telling you, 17 to 21, I was on a terror, guys. When I tell you, I've been in jail in every county this side of Houston, Texas. All of them. You're thinking of all the jails around Houston. If you're from Houston, you're thinking about McCower, you're thinking about Galveston, you're thinking about Crystal Beach, all of them. I've been there. So from 17 to 21, I ran around drinking and throwing fists. I was a troublemaker. I was angry at the world. I did not believe in God. I was like, why? Like, yeah, it's a book of story. That stuff ain't true. And then around the age of 21, I met my wife. And we kind of had this agreement. We're dating and we were getting serious. And then we got pregnant, like, right? These things happen. And she said, we're going to raise our kids Christians. And I'm like, fine, you can do whatever you want to, but I don't believe in that. And for a year, she begged me to go to church. And one day I go, and I swear, and Pastor Zach, right? You got these, Mr. Perkins, he's a pastor. I love this guy. He prayed over my office back in the day. But the pastor, sometimes he speaks to you. And even when you don't believe in it, you're like, wow, this dude's talking to me. Like, he's talking to me. And he spoke to me. And it was like this switch went off in my head. And my whole life changed, like in an instance. The change was, I didn't lose my mom at 17. I had 17 years with an angel because she volunteered to be my mom. And all of a sudden, everything changed. And it wasn't so poor me, woe is me, feel bad for myself, go drink it all away and do all these drugs and stuff. And I started realizing, like, man, you're blessed and you're blowing it. Like, she gave you everything. She volunteered to be your mom. She showed up to, like, nobody else was showing up to your games. She showed up. And this is the way you're going to repay her, by being a dumbass. And I tell you, it was a day I was in jail. I called my brother. And we knew the deal. We've been in jail. I knew I got 4 days in here, 150-day time serve. I'll get off. My papers will be good. I was gone, right? I knew you shouldn't know that stuff about going to jail, but I did. I called my brother. I'm like, hey, man, I want to get back to work. I'm not gonna do my time in. I know I could probably be on a couple of days, but I'm not gonna do my time in. Can you bail me out? And he's like, Ozzie, I love you. He said, man, I'm fresh out of money. Mom's dead, and you know dad's gone crazy. Like, so this is it, dude. You grow up. And I was like, what? And you better believe, man, it took minutes. I sobered up just like that. I'm in a holding tank with a bunch of other grown men, and I just sobered up. They're fighting over apples and shit, right? And all I knew was, like, this is not where I'm supposed to be right now. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, she didn't do what she did for me to be this way. So I came up with this story of me being a piece of glitter. Some days from heaven, she could see me, and some days she couldn't. And I started asking myself, like, how do I make sure she sees me? Because I need her to know. Because when she was dying, my brother Angel's like really smart, super smart. And I remember him telling me, mom's dying and you're a piece of shit. Like, this is what she's seeing. I hope you're proud of yourself. And I was 17. I was running the streets. I was just trouble. Like, I was all kinds of trouble. And I was selfish, right? I would honestly, every day, this is the way it worked. Wake up, tell her I love her, feed her through a tube, right? Go to school, try to come back for lunch, try to feed her again, go to school, come back, feed her again, right? Hopefully somebody else would come and take care of her for a little while, because I didn't know where to go. I was out in the streets. So my brother tells me, like, this is what mom sees. I hope you're proud of yourself. And after she died, all I could think is that is what she saw. Like, she saw me in the orange jumpsuit That's a hard thing to see your mom crying, you know, like looking through it's just not good. And all I knew is I need to change something. So I started telling myself this story. How do I make sure that she sees me from heaven? How do I turn from a piece of glitter and like blind her from heaven so she looks down and she knows like that kid was worth it? And all I could think is like, just give everything you got away. Like, go help everyone you can. Lift everyone up. Like, be that guy. Be the one. And I knew I could because in high school, dude, I was charismatic as hell, man. I was class favorite all 4 years in high school, even feed my mom while she was dying. Everybody loved me. And I knew there was something different. So I came up with my story is, and that's why I say you guys are my blessing, is the fact that you've heard a word that I have to say. If any of this testimony or anything I teach you today contributes even an ounce to your life, to your family, or anything you're doing, you're shining my light now. And this is it. I'm going to do this till the day that I die. I'm going to do this till God calls me home. I'm going to keep on shining light because one day I'm going to blind her from heaven and she's going to know. I'm not here to sell real estate. This is just the shit I ended up doing, right? I'm here for bigger things. And when we can believe in something like that, when you can grab a hold of something like that, don't you believe that gets my fat ass out of bed every morning? Don't you believe it gets me on the phones? I don't care you cuss at me. Aside of slapping my wife or punching my kids, you can't hurt me. Like, I don't care, right? But you got to grab onto something bigger. And we all got a story. I ain't special. I know I'm looking at some faces right here, and you guys got some pain. We've all been through struggles. We've all been through some shit. Are you going to go through the struggles and just let it be what it is, right? Because you didn't go to the struggle to be mediocre. You're not on this earth to be mediocre. We're just not. And I've lately been watching videos, and I've been talking to my team a lot about this. They probably think I'm crazy. I'm going to say it anyways. But there's times when we begin and we start to feel like the universe is against us. Has anybody ever felt like that? Like, man, it's all coming down, man. I can't catch a break, man. The hits just keep on coming. She died. I lost his job. My girlfriend left me. Like, my car breaks down. I got flat. You just start thinking like, man, the world is trying to keep me down. It happens sometimes. Has anybody ever, like, don't lie. Has anybody ever felt like, man, it's just, why does it keep on coming? Can you just slow down on my heart just a little bit? This is painful. I can't be the only damn one. So we feel it, right? But then we start thinking about perspective. Like, you want to know the truth? Because that's a lie. That's not the truth. You want to know how I know it's not the truth? Because God created trees, and trees take the CO2 that we breathe, turn into oxygen, feed it back to us. The universe is making an exchange through God and saying, hey, I want you to live. So every tree I pass is cheering for me. Every tree I pass is like, I want you to live. Every tree I pass is, you deserve to be here another day. It's like I'm in a damn parade. So when are you going to start believing that you're worthy of being here? Because God didn't create all this for you to be mediocre. He didn't create for you to just, whatever. No, the whole universe is cheering you on and pushing you to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Go get it, damn it. Go get it. He didn't place that dream in your head so you can just let it go. He placed it in head because it belongs to you and only you, and you're meant to live it. Unless it infringes on somebody else's rights or it's illegal, you're meant to live it. Right? That's it. Bottom line, because he didn't place your dream in my head or my dream in your head. He placed yours in yours. It belongs to you, so own it. So know your big why. That's the number one pillar. Get crystal clear with what it looks like, guys. Get crystal clear with what it looks like. Pillar number 2. Do it for them. Don't let them down. So when you get to the office, why I got you out of bed and got to the office. When you get on the phones or you're in lead generation or you're sending text mess emails or doing your pop buys or whatever you do to lead generate, whatever you're doing, understand that you're not doing that for you. You're doing that because you have value and another human being needs to feel that value. This is very important. I need y'all to slow down, think about this, and maybe even write something down right now. One of the biggest things I hear from agents is, well, I don't want to get on the phone because I don't want to bother people. And I can't keep calling my sphere of influence because I don't want to bother them. I've already sent them a card and I've ever blah, 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 all this other crap. And you make all these excuses, right? When you say you don't want to bother people, it has to do with one thing, because you don't believe you have value. Think about it. Think about it. I want you to think of the person you love the most in the whole world. Like the person you love. Could be a mom, could be your spouse, could be your kids. Like you would die for these kids, right? How many of you got that person? You thought about them? Raise your hand. I need to see some hands. I need some action, right? Think about them. Think about them right now. Who are they? If they called you every day, I don't care if it's about real estate. I don't care if it's about monster truck rally or football. I don't care what it's about. They called you every day, right? Would you be bothered by them? No, hell no. You love them. You want their phone call. When they stop calling, you're like, whoa, what happened? Why did they stop calling me? Oh, I love them. I'm going to call them now. You know, like, you're the one calling them more, right? You call them so much because they have that much value in your life. You have value. And some of you are rookies and you're like, Ozzie, how can I bring the value? Because I've only sold one house and I've only been doing this for a year. Here's the deal. Your value doesn't lie strictly in your knowledge of real estate. Think about it. When I was a rookie, I knew I hadn't sold a house. I hadn't done crap, nothing worthy. I'm 25 years old. Who the heck am I? And I'm going up against titans. But we all came in this business and you know who the big wigs in your area are, right? You know who the people closing 100, 200, 300 deals a year are in your area. You see their signs all over the place. And you think, I got to go up against this dude again. I'm going to lose this listing appointment. Here's the deal. I would go in there and I would say, most of the time, honestly, because I would show up with just comps, right? I would have a business card and my comps. It wasn't like some fancy folder, some amazing presentation. I didn't have like some touchscreen crap or none of that. It was comps and my business card and my chubby little face. That's what you got. Let's make this work. And I would go in there and I would see this like pimped out folder, right? Like it was like all dudded up folder. They had a packet on statistics about how they sold your mama's house and all this other stuff. Like they had everything, right? Everything was in their favor. And I would come in and I would say, oh, I see, you got such and such a folder. Man, he's a great real estate agent. That guy's awesome. But yeah, you know, I got to tell you, I have not sold as much real estate as he has. I'm not going to lie to you about it. But, you know, I want to know, like, what do you value? Do you value being a number and kind of a notch on a bedpost for someone? Or do you value someone who's going to treat you like you're the most important person in their business because you are the most important person in my business because you represent me being able to feed my family and keep my lights on? You are very important to me. You represent an education in real estate for me. You represent everything I need out of this business, and I'm going to treat you as such. You're not just another number. When you call, I'll answer. We're going to have conversations. I'm going to do everything I can to focus on your property because he's got 50 and I've got you, and I'm going to take care of you like you're my brother or my sister or my cousin. Would you be okay if I took care of you like you were my mom? Would that be all right? Awesome. Let's go ahead and sign this contract. Where's your value? It doesn't have to be in the sell. Value can be that you love someone. The value can be that I'm going to be there. Like I'm going to be the one that answer calls and does what I'm supposed to do. Now, if you're in a different place in your business, you've got a different value proposition, but we've all got value. So if you got value, stop telling yourself that you're bothering people. That's nonsense. It's a lie. Every one of you have value. So number one is your big why. Number two, get on the phone for them, not for you. Number three, come from curiosity. Behave as a consultant and not as a salesperson. A consultant asks questions. We learn how to active listen, right? I'm going to have my pen and my paper. I'm going to listen to what you're saying to me. I'm going to write some key things down. I'm going to ask you questions about what you just told me. I'm going to get clarity. I'm going to get down to the true like meaning, like what is your real motivation and why you're selling this house, right? Because your average real estate agent comes in and they're about, oh, you're trying to get the most money and sell the quickest. That's great. Yeah. But most of the time there's something totally different behind it, right? I remember when this started to make a whole lot of sense for me, there was a guy and he was selling his house to move in a neighborhood just across the way. He was going from a 4-bedroom to a 5-bedroom, right? And he was crossing a line of a school, like a school zoning, right? And I'm like, so, okay, so you're looking for this many bedrooms, this many bathrooms, that neighborhood. And I thought like, oh, it's gated, it's a big house, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, right? And I could have left it at that. But then I just started asking deeper questions. Can I ask you something? Like, you're going right across the street. Like, what's the significance of that? And he said, well, that neighborhood's gated, number one. He said, number two, it's got a 5th bedroom. They have bigger houses in that neighborhood, better, more options. And he said, number 3, it's zoned to these 3 schools. And I was like, okay, like this house is zoned to similar schools, not this one or that one, but it's zoned to these 2, this one over here. And he said, yeah, he goes, these schools have a special needs program. And I was like, oh, tell me more about that. And he said, well, I need the 5th bedroom because my sister is getting a divorce from her abusive husband and my nephew's special needs. So we need the extra room and we need to be zoned to these schools. And the gated community will make sure that we at least have us in a pocket to where if he gets out or something, like we can try to track him easier. It wasn't about a damn house. It wasn't about 5 bedrooms, 2-car garage. No, it was about what they represented. And had I not been truly curious and gave a damn, I would have just stopped at the surface. And when I stop at the surface, it's like bedroom, bathroom searches. That's great. That's cool and all. But truly, don't you think my motivation was better when I knew I was working for that little boy? When I knew I was working to help this family get to a better situation? You bet your sweet ass I did. I worked my ass off. I'm like, I'm going to find you everything you need, and I'm going to do as fast as I can, and I'm going to be here every conversation, right? And when you want to look at the house, I'm going to bring color books and colors, and I'm going to occupy this little kid and get to know him so you can make the best decision for your family because it matters to me. Stay curious, guys. Ask questions, dig deep. There's surface motivation, then there's a real motivation. Get to know the real motivation, and you'll develop a better clientele service. You'll develop a better relationship, which is the key here. Number 4, come from contribution. This is big. There's times in this business, and some of y'all know with me, some of y'all don't yet, and some of you maybe never, but sometimes there's times in this business when you don't have enough deals in the pipeline and you're wondering how you're going to keep your damn lights on, how you're going to pay your next bill, how you're going to keep your house or keep your car. You know, don't even lie. I've hid my car crooked in the garage, locked it down, hide it from the repo man. All right. I hope I ain't the only one that's special on here. Right. But here's the deal is it doesn't matter what's going on in my life. I'm not going to push someone into a house to get the clothes, to get the commission, to pay for my car. I don't give a crap. I may end up losing my car, but I'm going to do right by these people. I'm going to do right by these people. Okay, so it says, what is it for? Number 1 is know your big why. 2 is do it for them. 3 is come from curiosity. 4 is come from contribution. Come from contribution. And in contribution, guys, this is the lesson I learned in the 92 listings in 90 days is I was trying to get the appointment and I killed it every time. Because whether you believe it or not, you can have commission breath over the phone. They can smell that crap. Oh man, all you want to do, you don't care about me. You just want to get a commission and close the deal. You don't care what happens to me. You know, when you realize that the dollar of tomorrow is worth more than a dollar of today, everything changes. What does that mean? If I do right by you, if I love you, if I take care of you and I do everything I'm supposed to, if I put your dollar above my dollar and I do right by your whole family, we may not close a deal today. We may not close a deal in the next couple of months. It may take a couple of years. You may not buy a house from me at all, but if I do you right, don't you think that maybe you're going to start referring people to me because I did what I'm supposed to do? Understand that, guys. The dollar of tomorrow is worth more than the dollar of today. Don't go chasing today's dollar. Chase relationships. Chase bringing value. Chase loving people. And even if you're in a tight situation, just say, I am not going to put these people in a predicament because I made bad decisions. I'm going to help them make the best decisions, even if it means I don't sell a freaking house. And I'm telling you, when you start doing that, like the abundance is just amazing. It comes so crazy. It's just absolutely nuts. All right. Now the 5th one. This has to do with tenacity, guys. Say this, say this. You don't all have to chant it with me, but say this, write it down. My strength lies solely in my tenacity. I hate to break it to you guys. Some of you believe it, some of you don't. Victory doesn't come to the smartest, the fastest, the strongest, the most beautiful, right? Victory comes to the person with the most tenacity. If me and you go at it, right? There's a couple things that are going to happen, right? If let's say we get on a treadmill, we race on a treadmill or whatever, I'm out of shape, I don't care. Here's what's going to happen, right? You're going to die, or I'm going to die, or you're going to quit, or I'm going to win. That's the only 4 ways this shit happens, because I don't lose. Tenacity. That's it. That's it. You got to kill me, or I'm coming back tomorrow. That's the way this works. So understand what tenacity means for you in your business. Are you going to get hung up on? Yeah. Are you going to lose a listing appointment? Yeah. Are you going to lose a closing that should have closed tomorrow, but it falls out on the day before closing and you know you need that money? Yeah. Are you going to tuck, tell, and run? Or are you going to stand and fight? And I'm not some guy on some like mighty pulpit over here trying to preach to everybody about this crap. I'm the dude that lost a house to foreclosure. You know how hard it is to let your wife know that you're losing this house because you took a gamble and you left the restaurant industry with $32,000. You spent all of your damn savings believing in this dream and it didn't work out. You know how hard that is? My daughter's in college and I just let her in on that secret. We didn't move out of the house. We lost it. I had a vehicle repo the day before Christmas from a restaurant. I come out and the car's gone. I call. I'm in front of people that I'm at the restaurant with. I call and I'm like, hey, my car was stolen. Gave him the license plate number. No, actually, Mr. Ramirez, we have a call. That's a repo ticket. It's a legal pickup. And I'm lying. I'm on the phone like, oh yeah, it was stolen and where can I go pick it up? Because I want the people around me to hear that it was stolen when it wasn't. It was repoed. That's a true story. If I told you to be successful in this business, you would lose a house to foreclosure, you'd lose a car to repo, you struggle your ass off, you'd have your lights cut off a few times here and there to be ultimately successful. If I ask people, would you do that? Most people, and I know because I've asked this question, a lot of people I interviewed to join the team, and a lot of people are like, hell no, I wouldn't do that. Nope, I'm not doing that. But that's tenacity. Here's the deal. This is, and the way I think about things is, this is real estate. Nobody's dying, right? Nobody's dying. And unless it's cancer, death, or something like that, something that's not man-made, it's not, if it's man-made, it's not a real problem. Money's not a real problem. You made it a problem in your mind. Are y'all getting where I'm going with that? You got to have tenacity and you have to look at things a little bit different. You might have, actually, I will go and say, you may have to be crazy to be in this business and make it. Because most people would not beat their head against the wall for this damn long and seeing this many failures, right? Everybody's go back. I'm going to tell y'all one of the funniest stories, and this stays here. You'll never meet this person, but it was my first year in real estate. I believe that was 2005 somewhere. When did Enron crash? I don't even remember, but it was somewhere in there, right? So we're in Houston, and I'm at like a holiday party, and one of my wife's aunts, she asked me, "What are you going to do when the bubble burst? What are you going to do when real estate goes collapse and you're not going to be able to feed your family?" Right? And I'm like, who asked that question? Like, that's a busted ass question you just asked me. I'm trying to feed my family. You're going to ask me this crap at a Christmas party? Like, who are you? Well, nonetheless, she asked the question. Here's the crazy thing is 17 years later, and I'm still in real estate. She worked for Enron. You want to talk to me about a bubble bursting, right? And I'm not saying that because it's not like, nah, boo, boo, I won, you didn't. It's not like that. But what it is it's an understanding about tenacity. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to be in this for the rest of my life. I don't tuck till and run. I stand and fight. Right. And here's the crazy thing is you are going to have naysayers. You're going to have negative people. You're going to have people that don't believe in you. The crazy thing is, you know what I realized in that exchange with my wife's aunt is she was actually like conveying her fear on me. She was placing her limited beliefs on me. And the way I am is like, oh, hell no, you keep that. I don't need that. You keep that on you. And I did. She kept it on her and Enron collapsed. I'm not blaming her, but I'm just saying, right? The bubble burst in 08 and I'm still here. It is what it is, right? Tenacity, guys. My strength lies solely in my tenacity. This is my ability to take the punches and keep moving forward. Because I promise you, just like life, real estate's very similar. You're going to get hit in the jaw and you're going to take some ass whoopings. Are you going to lay down or are you going to get back up? That's a decision you have to make. So 5 pillars, I'll read them back to you. Number 1, know what your big why is. Have something to grab hold of. You're going to come against obstacles. When you meet the obstacle, is your big why going to pull you through or you're going to tuck tail and run? Get very clear with what that is. Number 2, get on the phone for them, not for you. This is about other human beings. This is serving and bringing value to other people. Number 3, come from curiosity. Number 4, come from contribution. And I'll send this out to you guys broken down. And number 5, what is it? Fall in love with the action, not the result. Have tenacity in this business. Eventually the skill will come. So those are the 5 pillars. Now, the last thing I want to cover before we get into like a Q&A is it's what I call the hierarchy of dialing. So there's levels, guys. So when people come into my team, the first conversations these guys are going to be having is a lot of like circle prospecting. It's a lot of like farming type phone calls. It's a lot of database type phone calls. Database, circle prospecting, farming phone calls. Typically on a regular scale, like 1 in every 50 to 1 in every 100 is going to be a really productive conversation, right? That ratio doesn't sound so good, does it? That sounds like a lot of damn phone calls, right? So that's tough. So in the hierarchy of dialing, that is the highest hanging fruit. That's actually not the highest hanging fruit. It's actually the farming of it all, right? I'm going to plant the seed. I'm going to water it. I'm going to till it and take care of it. And then eventually it'll grow fruit. But I got to make a lot of phone calls in order for that to happen sometimes. The next level of that is typically going to be like your kind of like your allied resources and database together. So if you know what allied resources, it's like anybody that's in business that can be complementing to what your business is. It can be your surveyors, it can be your inspectors, but it can also be any business. And why I say this can be more productive is business people like you, we talk to a lot of damn people. So their database, if you win their heart, their database is now your database. So you've increased your opportunity to close a deal. You've increased your opportunity to get out there and get more relationships, right? So understand that. That's allied resources. That's a little bit lower hanging fruit on the hierarchy of dialing. Next is expired based on my numbers. What you'll find with expired is there's a lot of bad numbers because it's not a complete science. So different places you could pull data from. When I was dialing, I pulled data from Arch Agent. Arch Agent, I don't even know if it's in business anymore, but it's kind of become obsolete. The best places that I found right now, so some people do RedX. Here in Texas, I have found in our area that RedX isn't the best data. I've tried RedX. We've done Mojo. Mojo was really good for a long time, but we figured out that actually Vulcan 7 is the most complete and most in-depth data because Vulcan 7 actually, whenever they're pulling down the numbers for expired, it's going to pull the person. It's going to pull like cousins, brothers, sisters, uncles. Like you're going to get everybody in the dang family. It's kind of crazy. So Vulcan 7 is the most complete data where you'll actually have the best opportunity to eventually get a hold of the person who owns the property. And expired is typically like 1 in 12. Vulcan, VULCAN 7. I'll type this in here. Vulcan 7. So Vulcan 7 is to me in the Houston, Texas area. Now this is going to vary where you're at. In the Houston, Texas area, Vulcan 7 is the best data. I'm going to tell you right now, you got to make a decision on whether you're willing or not to call relatives, right? Here's the deal is if I can't find the seller's direct number or they're not answering, as long as you have a proper script and you're not like rude and offensive, like you can call a relative and say, hey, I don't want to bother you. Are you related to such and such? Yeah, well, I got their information. It was actually in a public directory I pulled down, and I noticed that they had a property they were trying to sell and it didn't sell. Do you know if they're still interested in selling that thing? I don't want to waste too much of your time. Did that sound like less offensive? That sound like a little easier to deal with? So you got to learn those things. Like you got to learn the nuances of the conversation and who you're dealing with. I had one guy like really freaking cuss me out. And he was like, F you, why are you calling my mom? Da, da, da. And I actually converted him and I sold 3 of their properties. But I said, hey man, can I slow this down a little bit? And he's like, what? And I go, you're yelling at me. And this is the first time I've ever talked to you. I said, can I ask you who pissed you off? And he was like, what the hell are you talking about? And I go, you can't be mad at me because I've never talked to you. So tell me what happened before I got on the phone with you. And he was like, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, the last 2 days, I've had like 13 people call me and they're bothering my mom and they're bothering me at work and da-da-da. And I go, man, can I help you out? And he goes, yeah. And I go, I can help you stop all the phone calls if you sign these contracts. But he started laughing, right? And we hit it off. And he was like, man, you're different, dude. And I go, yeah, man, like we're just having a conversation. I'm just a Houston dude. You're a Houston dude. We're just regular people. Like, come on, man. And it just ended up working out really well. And then the lowest hanging fruit is FSBOs, right? For sell by owners. Expires are good because what I found, according to most numbers, is expireds are a little tough because a lot of times the reason why they expired, especially in the markets most of us are in right now, is because they were freaking overpriced, right? That's that part. But you can also work it out. If you can, I tell you, most of the time when you take an expired, you should get a built-in price reduction. So they're listed at 300. You should try to take that thing closer to market, at least with a $5,000 or $10,000 reduction. So that's expireds. What about so expireds? Another reason why expireds are pretty good is because they've already told you, they raised your hand and told you a few things. I want to sell my house. I've tried to sell my house. I'm okay with paying commission and signing a contract and working with a real estate agent. Right now, you just got to work through some other things on the expired. On the FSBO side, the reason why a FSBO can be really good, number one, they put their property, most of them put it on Zillow, and they're going to be like, I don't want to use an agent. Or sometimes I called and they're like, oh, I didn't know, I never thought about using an agent. Yeah, yeah, come on over, we'll do it. Sometimes it's that dang easy. Most of the time it's, why would I pay that much money in commissions? And why would I give up this money and all these other conversations like that? And then I kind of just put in perspective for them and let them know like, well, man, let's go ahead and get into it. Who wants to do, I'm going to drop right now the greatest script you're going to find for sell by owners who are listed on Zillow. This is my secret weapon. Who here has done FSBOs before that would like to be the seller that I'm calling? Anybody want to volunteer? Oh, for real? This is what we're doing? We're real estate agents and all of a sudden we're shy. If there was like pizza or hot dogs, y'all be like, let's go.
Hey, I never done a FSBO, but hey, I'll volunteer.
Is there anybody who's done it before?
I have. I'll do it.
Okay. I want somebody, because I want you to, so here's the deal. And the reason why I'm saying this, you've done it before. I want you to give me some solid, realistic objections that any of us would see if we are calling a for sale by owner. So okay. I'm setting the stage. And here's what I'm going to do as well, guys. Before we even get this going, I need you guys, if you're on a computer, this is going to be great for you. I want y'all to look at something. I'm going to give you all a very free, really awesome tool that you can use right now, right? So this is Zillow.com. Can y'all see this screen? Is it shared? Yes. This is Zillow.com. You better be paying attention to this crap right now. If I go onto Zillow.com and I hit buy right here, I might have to go let my kids in the damn house right now. I think somebody's banging on the door. Okay, so I'm looking at, I clicked on buy. I'm in the Pearland, Texas area. So here's my plug. I'm in the Houston, Texas area. If you're not from here and you got a referral, I'm your dude. Okay, that's it.
I'm here too. Thanks.
You better be quiet. Damn it, Stephanie. I'm kicking Stephanie off right now. Okay, so here's
Don't
the
have
deal.
anybody to do your call, Ozzie.
So I want y'all to see something. I'm gonna leave that box there. So if you click on this box now for sale, it drops down, hit this little arrow, and you get all these boxes. I think you see where I'm going with this. Uncheck this box, uncheck the coming soon, the auction, the foreclosure, and the new construction. And look at that. You get a list of nothing but free for sale by owners. Click done. Zoom in. And now look, so here's the deal is if you're not a veteran at this, you're like, there's no for sale by owners. You bet there is. You got to shift this right over here. And there's your for sale by owners. So this is a full list of for sale by owners. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to pull up one. Ooh, $6.99. That's a good. Okay. I'm going to pull up this one right here. Click on the actual little dot. It pulls up. And this is where this script is really powerful. But before we get into the script, I'm going to show you some things. So number one, you notice something here. It says for sale by owner. Here's a price. Why the hell does it say contact agent? I'm a for sale by owner. I put my property on Zillow.com as a for sale by owner because I want to avoid an agent. But if a consumer comes here, it says contact agent. It's pretty damn deceptive, Zillow. You should be ashamed of yourself. Whatever, they do it, right? So, but here's the beauty of it. Scroll down just a little bit. I'm going to scroll down slightly and look at this, everybody. I want y'all to see this. Here's a couple key factors. Number one, listed by property owner. There's a number. There's a number. You can call the seller right there directly. You got it for sale by owner. You didn't have to pay for Vulcan 7. It's free. I just gave you like $10,000 worth of free right there. So go on to Zillow, go here. Here's the number of the seller. You can call the seller directly. Now I'm gonna dissect a few things because here's what I do. I know Zillow's a big player in the game. I know I don't consider them my competition, but most of us can, right? Here's the deal is I got to know what everybody's doing so I can compete at the highest level. Here's the thing. If you look at this listing, it says it's been on the market 47 days. It's had 528 freaking views. And it's had 11 saves. Here's the deal with the 11 saves, guys. 11 saves, according to the Zillow system, means somebody's registered. They've given their name, number, and email address. And they've saved this property. So when they save this property, that person that gave their name, number, and email address in the system is now a lead. Where does the lead go? It doesn't go to the seller. I'll tell you that right now. It goes directly to the agent. When you hit contact agent, I want y'all to see some things. We're busting it open right now. You put your name, number, and email address to contact the agent or whatever. And they even hit you with the I want financing information, right? So they're not only selling leads to real estate agents, they're selling them to mortgage people, getting rich. Zillow's amazing like that. Fine print, everybody. By pressing contact agent, you agree that Zillow Group and its affiliate and real estate professionals may call or text you about your inquiry. Zillow's selling your information. Mr. and Miss Consumer, how do you feel that you just put your property on Zillow for free and Zillow's taking all your leads and selling them to a real estate agent? Agents are getting rich. Zillow's getting rich. What are you getting? Nothing. Yeah, it's kind of painful. I'm gonna tell you something. This is something we all should know, the basics of social media and the internet. If it is free to you, if it is free to you subscribe, if it's free for you to sign up, it's free for you to be on Facebook, guess what you are? You're the product. You are what is being sold. Zillow is selling your eyeballs. They're selling your traffic. They're selling you. So when a seller goes on and puts their property up thinking, I'm going to be a for sale by owner and I'm going to get leads for free. No, you just signed up to be the product. You just signed up to be sold. You just signed up for your house to be bait, to bring in leads, to sell to real estate agents so everyone gets paid but you. Thank you so much for contributing to the real estate industry and you didn't even know it because that fine print, nobody freaking reads it. All right. I've done enough of that. I hope that piece, I hope I brought a lot of value, but I hope that piece, I hope that brings a lot of value to you guys and you put it to work in your business. It can be very powerful. Now, Stephanie, you ready?
Sure.
Let's go. Here we go. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Yeah. I was calling about the property at 4610 Iroquois Drive here in Pasadena. And I was just wondering, is it still for sale?
It is. Are
Okay.
you an agent or are you someone looking?
I'm actually a little bit of everything. I'm an investor. I'm an agent. I buy properties. I'm licensed in states. Like I do everything. I'm really calling to get information on this property. I want to know a few things. Can I ask you some basic information and get some details on it? I don't want to waste your time. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So I'm looking at some basic information here. I see it's in Pasadena. I know some areas flooded in Harvey and all that stuff. Did this property flood in Harvey?
No, it did not.
Awesome. Do you know if it requires flood insurance? I didn't have time to look that up.
No, it doesn't. We carry flood insurance to be safe, but it doesn't require it.
Okay. And just the three big things that every consumer wants to know, my consumers and me. How's the roof? Is it in good shape?
It was replaced 5 years ago.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. How's the foundation? Is that in good shape?
It is.
Okay. And we're in Texas. I got to know, how old is this AC? Because it gets hot in the summer.
This AC is about 12 years old.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. It still runs right, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Still
Yeah.
good? Okay. Okay. Do y'all get it serviced every year? I'm sorry. I'm so questioning right now. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We do not. Actually, we have
Okay.
a friend who owns an AC company and he comes out anytime that we feel like something might be wrong. We put in the top of the line, so we don't really feel like it's necessary.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. So let me ask you a question. I don't want to offend you, but I mean, what's the reason you're not using a real estate agent? Like there's no encumbrances, there's no survey issues, there's nothing that I need to know about?
No, there's no issues with it. We just didn't feel like it was necessary to pay someone with the market being the way it is when we can list it and do it ourselves.
I
This
could
is the
I
third
could totally
home we've done for sell by owner. So
gotcha. I can understand that. When was the last time y'all sold a property, if you don't mind me asking?
we sold one of our rental properties during the summer.
This summer. Okay. Did you guys use Zillow then too?
We did.
Have y'all noticed like a little bit of a trend like on Zillow from back in the day to now? Like what's going on with Zillow? Has anybody like told you about what's happening there?
No, I don't think anyone has.
Gotcha. So look, I don't want to intrude. I don't want to bother you. I know that I tried for selling for sale by owner on Zillow several times. I used to like it a lot. I got to be honest, like 5-6 years ago, Zillow was a pretty good tool. Nowadays, what I realize is it's when you find out, actually, you're probably going to be mad. It's a little bit of a scam. And honestly, you're probably losing a lot of money by using it. Would you like me to tell you like what I found out when I found out the truth that pissed me off?
I mean, you can. We've always had good luck with it, but you can share.
Yeah. So here's the deal. How many actual real buyers have reached out to you through Zillow?
It's been mostly agents.
Mostly agent. So that's number one. The number one thing Zillow does is they sell your information to third parties. It sells it to agents. So let me ask you, it was free to put it on Zillow, right? You didn't pay anything. You just signed it up.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So that's pretty common. Like, I don't know if anybody's told you that, but if a site is free to you, you're the product. So it's being sold. So that's why the real estate agents are calling you. The other thing is, have you gotten any like serious inquiry buyers from Zillow, like real buyers, not agents?
We've had one.
One. Okay. So let me ask you, if you're looking, I'm looking at it right now. I have it pulled up on my screen. Is your price 270,000? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And it says you've been on the market 47 days.
That's probably correct.
Okay. I'm also seeing here you have 528 views and 11 people have given Zillow their information and inquired about your property. And you said one person, but there's 11 on here. What happened with the other 10? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll be honest. I know what happened. So here's the way Zillow works. And you're going to be upset because this is what upset me. I'm looking at your listing. It says Zillow, 270,000 for sub by owner. Then it says contact agent. And you told me you don't have an agent, right?
Correct.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not that I'm paying, not that I've agreed to pay or do anything with.
So here's the truth about it is those 11 people that gave their name, number, and email information to Zillow have been sold as leads to real estate agent. And so right now I look, there's a big blue button. I click contact agent. I can put my name, number, and email address. And down at the bottom, it says, by pressing contact agent, you agree that Zillow Group and its affiliates and real estate professionals may call or text you about your inquiry. Did you know Zillow was getting rich and agents were getting rich off of your property?
I mean, I kind of figured with as many agents that have called, but I just didn't know the details of it.
Gotcha. So here's what I love to do, and this is completely free. Call this like $5,000 worth of free information, whatever you want to. This is what helped me. So I'm always trying to find better ways to sell my properties and things like that, and help my clients as well. And right now in your description, it's one of the first things you see. So we talk about like being online. It's what we call serial positioning. It's making sure your information is on that front page. Right now, your information, like Zillow does everything they can to make sure your information is not on that front page. In fact, they've actually changed the algorithm a little bit because it used to have your description on the first page. They took it off. But if you can, what I tell people to do is in your description right here, in as big letters, all caps, put asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Call seller directly, all capital letters, then your phone number, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. So maybe it'll catch a consumer's attention. And instead of the buyer getting like circumvented, like going around you and going to the agent, you may actually get more leads off it that way. So that's one thing you can do. I used to tell people to put your phone number on your pictures, but Zillow blacklisted that. You can't do that anymore. So here's my big thing. You know, if I could show you a way to capture more of these 11 buyers, to put them in your pocket, to find a real buyer, to get your property sold for top dollar, like net in your pocket, would you be interested in sitting with me for about 20 minutes so I can show you how to net more money in your pocket and beat Zillow at this game that they're kind of using you on?
I don't know. My husband and I agreed we'd at least give it 60 days and see where it takes us.
I totally understand that. So in the first 47 days, you've lost 11 potential buyers. And here's what happens. 11 buyers go to real estate agents. The real estate agents make them their clients. Real estate agents show them the properties on the MLS that are listed with other real estate agents because they know they're going to get a commission. So are you okay with burning another 5 to 11 buyers that could buy your property right now? Is that okay with you? Because you've already lost 11 and they've already probably purchased properties.
I mean, are you offering your services at a discount? Because we're kind of trying to save that money.
So here's the deal. What I've found, honestly, is I don't really talk commissions on the phone. What I would like to do is I'd like to meet with you and just talk about everything. Everything's negotiable. I don't know if I can figure out a way to make this a home run, put more money in your pocket, make it a win for you, win for me, and a win for a consumer. We may be able to go and do that. All I want to do is sit down and show you how to win and put more money in your pocket. Would it be okay if I could help you put more money in your pocket?
I mean, if you can help us put more money in our pocket, then yes.
Net dollars in your pocket. Fantastic. Do you have time today at 4:30 or tomorrow at 5:30? Which one works best?
Tomorrow at 5:30.
Tomorrow at 5:30. And when I show up at 5:30, are all the decision makers, your husband, going to be there with you? Because I'd like to have him in on the conversation.
He should be.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to send you an email that's going to have all my information, a confirmation of the appointment. I'm going to send you information about me and my team so you're comfortable with who we are. You know we're the real deal. My goal is to come over and educate you to the point we have all the tools you need to where if you don't hire me, you still make the maximum amount of money on your own. But if you do hire me, we can help you net the absolute most money altogether. Does that sound fair enough?
Yeah, that's good.
I appreciate it, Miss Stephanie. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 5:30.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good one. How'd y'all feel about that conversation? Did it roll well? Can you tell I practiced a little bit? Is there anything you felt like I could have done a little bit better?
I'm used to feedback after that.
Oh yeah. So okay. So we have rules. Stephanie is one of our business partners here in Houston. We have rules and we do script action role play. Number one rule is you got to give at least 3 objections. You got to make the person work for the appointment because that's how they get better. Number 4 is number 3. The number 2 rule is you got to give them the appointment so the guy gets the victory or the woman gets the victory on the call. And then we give feedback. You give them one good piece of feedback to say, hey, this is what you did good at. And you give them one thing they need to work on because that's how we get better. So we do script practice and role play every single day from 8 to 8:30. It's a voluntary thing amongst our agents, but it brings a crap ton of value. So we have a lot of these conversations. So you're good. Did she sound like she was a real consumer, like a real for sale by owner? She did, because she's got practice, right? Clarissa, what you got?
Yeah, that sounded like a real conversation. It was y'all both did a great job, and I really appreciated, because I am pretty passionate about that side of Zillow. I really appreciated you creating urgency by pointing out that you've already missed 10 leads, and are you willing to go through another one? I think that that's something that really adds that hook and creates that urgency. That was really brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to think about it. Yeah, like these buyers, you got to think about it on the grand, like the timeline of what's going on here. She said she received one of the buyers. That means there's 10 buyers have already been shot to a real estate agent. The agent's not going to be like, they're not going to wait. I don't know if you're an agent and you got 10 leads that are ready to buy right now. Are you like, hold on, we're going to wait until they come off of Zillow and then they get listed and then we're going to go buy the house? Heck no. You do the buyer consultation, you show them houses, you get them into a contract, and you're done. That's the way it works. The buyers are buying houses whether your property is put in front of them or not. When we get your property in front of them, you get to sell. Until then, you're burning buyers. You're losing them. Fair enough? Absolutely. All right. So really, I've covered a majority, or if not all, the content that I really want to go over with you guys. What I would like to do now is I'd like to open it up some Q&A. If there's like some more scripts you want to work on, or if there's any details that you feel like you want more clarity on, or if you'd like to just kind of, if you got something out of this, I really like to, that's my confirmation. If I brought you value today and you have one piece of something, whether it's an emotional thing or whether it's a motivational thing or whether it's a conversation or a skill or even the Zillow thing, if there's one thing I gave you that you could possibly use to make your life better and your business better, I'd like to hear about that stuff too. So questions, anybody? Expired script. So expired script. Does anybody want to do well, real quick, Manu, what's your question real quick? Because we can do another script practice and role play on expired. You're muted, unmute yourself.
It was just I feel really blessed, like I got the chance to get on this call. First, the Zillow perspective, like it is a really, really good point that I did not know about. It is something I can always in future use it. I have never done Facebook calls because I'm just too much of a chicken to make Facebook calls. I have a big SOI. I'm in California, so the one you call is like, your contacts, we call it sphere of influence.
Yeah.
So the SOI. So I have a big SOI. So most of my sales are through my friends, family, contacts. I do a little bit of open houses, but never done Facebook calls.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something maybe I can in future look for. And another thing that I got is, like, I was very inspired by your story, like coming from, like, the rock bottom and then having your own brokerage and winning it. Like, it's amazing. I just saw the email on I think it was on Lab Code Agents or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I put in my email, but I didn't know about you. I did, because I'm in California and I'm with eXp Realty, so it's completely different.
Hey, I'm with EXP too. Shh, don't tell nobody.
Okay, oh my gosh, awesome. Thank you. So it is just it's amazing. Thank you so much for putting this together. And everything I heard today was completely different. I have done coaching calls with Sean Kokoska. I have done coaching calls with Tony Robbins' team, Brian Morrell, all those people. But whatever the material I got today, they're all amazing too. But this, it was like fresh manna. It was good.
Let's go. So a couple things, like understanding that Zillow type thing, right? Here's just another thing I need to add. You guys need to hear this. Number one, we all know Zillow backed out of the iBuyer game, right? So they're no longer buying houses in any market right now, from what I know. So they were a big player in the iBuyer game. OfferPad has kind of taken over that. And here's what we're finding in our market. It could be different in other markets. iBuyers are a big deal right now. You need to know your competition. Zillow's doing when you get to the coffee table and people are like, "Whoa, we're thinking about for sale by owner with Zillow." That's a great conversation to use in, not just calling for sale by owners, but if somebody in your SOI is considering going for sale by owner because they think it's going to save money, now you have a tool in your arsenal to have a better conversation around that. The other thing I tell you with iBuyers, guys, I in my 17 years, I've known about iBuyers for years. They've been out there, OfferPad, all these guys have been there. In the last 2 months, I've had more iBuyer conversations come up than ever before. The consumers know about iBuyers. They see it as an option, and some of them are opting to do it. So what I'm going to tell, go ahead.
Sorry, with the iBuyer thing, I actually sold my house to Zillow. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're the devil. I'm just kidding.
I know, but the thing is, like, the one thing, the good thing to use about, like, when as a buyer, like when the table turns and you go as a buyer to work with Zillow, the house that they bought, they're selling it 5%, 10% more. They're not going to be any comps to match with. You're going to have to come up with the difference when the bank says it's not appraised. Second, they're not allowing any repairs or inspections. That's going to be a hard part. And then they're obviously overpriced, and they're hard to deal with, like when you're on the buyer side.
So I've heard they're hard to deal with. The biggest thing about like knowing Zillow got out of the game overall is because those things you just said, they came back to bite them in the ass. They were buying too high, selling too high, and the process wasn't easy enough.
When they sent me an offer and I was like, I know the comps. I ran the comps in my area. I knew what my house was worth. And they sent me an offer and I told my husband, I'm like, you need to be quiet and just sign it because this is amazing. But then I know they listed it back on the market. They listed like 20,000 over what they got. And now they just dropped 12,000.
Yeah,
and
they're not selling.
They're 50,000. We might just buy it back. Who knows?
Yeah, so I've had someone in our market sold to them. They dropped it 100,000 and they bought their same house back from Zillow and made a profit on it.
It just tells they're not very smart with the investment.
Well, they were backed by so much money that they thought they could be reckless for marketing purposes, and it didn't work out. That's why they had to get out. What I will tell you, if you can get certified through different iBuyer programs. You can reach out to OfferPad and get certified. I know EXP has express offers. Like there's different programs. You need to arm yourself. You need to understand KW offers or OfferPad or all these things and know what's going on there. If you can get certified, do it because it's going to become more and more a part of the conversation. So just make sure you have that done. There was somebody who wants to go ahead and do an expired with me. We've got 16 minutes to honor everyone's time. Or does anybody have any other questions or comments?
I'd like to hear an expired if anybody else wants to do it.
Who wants to be the seller on an expired? You just listed with someone. It just fell off the market. We're just a couple days in and I am calling you.
Haven't done expireds in a long time, but that is how I started. So I'll play along.
Let's do it. What market are you in?
I'm south of the Clear Lake office, but
you're in Houston?
Yes.
What's up?
And a big admirer of all your signs.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I've submitted a few offers in my day.
I hope we treat you well. I know we get big and sometimes we mess shit up.
No,
but we're getting better every day. Thank you. I appreciate
Super
that.
streamlined. So thank you for sharing your story, because as someone who like grew up watching Kimberly Kibb in our area, like post on Facebook all the time and then parting with her signs, but like billboards, but yours are the ones actually like hanging in people's yards that I saw all the time. And to hear that you come from such incredibly humble beginnings that was awesome. So thank you for sharing.
One of the things I tell people is I don't care how many billboards somebody puts up. I don't care how many commercials you do. I'm in their living rooms every damn day. I'm at the coffee table. I'm at the dinner table. So you're never going to beat me. It's impossible. So, all right. So we're going to do an expired. I'm going to call you. You just fell off the market. Typical things. So understanding of expired conversation. A lot of times you call and they're like, what? It's not on the market? I thought I was still on the market. And you're like, okay, so what you're telling me is your agent didn't communicate with you is what I'm hearing. And they're like, I guess not. I didn't know. So those things are natural. Just most, I also hear people say a lot of this is, well, we're just going to wait until the market gets better. And then I have to break the news like, oh, the market's amazing right now. Like, that's not how this works. But okay, so give me 3 objections, make it a little hard for me, then give me the appointment. Let's roll through this. We've got 13 minutes. This should take about 7. And then we'll do a little bit more Q&A. We'll wrap this up. Before we get there, on the 21st, I'm doing an investment Zoom. I'll talk about the crazy deals that I personally have bought. I've bought storage facilities, apartment complexes. Right now I do capital raise. We raise money, buy properties, and invest in different properties. Flipping properties, how to find flips, how to find buy and hold investments. I wrote an offer today on 9 different units. It's basically a package. And I met a lady at a restaurant. She said, my landlord's thinking about selling. I said, get me in contact, because most of the time one landlord owns 2, 3, 4, or 5 properties. That was the case here. She owned 9. She's an ex-real estate agent that owns them, and she understands taxes. She didn't want to take a big tax burden and a big hit selling for over 1 million. So I offered her owner finance. I said, what if we alleviated some of that tax burden? And I gave you a chunk now. We owner finance in a 30-year amortization. We did a 5-year balloon where I had a prepayment penalty on an annual, and I can pay you out so you don't take a big tax burden, but you receive the money you want and you're happy. And she said, I love owner finance. And I said, me too. So I'm writing an offer on these 9 properties. And it's all about knowing what to look for, knowing how to have the conversation, and understanding like there's a big opportunity out there right now for a lot of these properties. So I'm going to cover all that stuff on the 21st from 2 to 4. If any of you guys want to be on that, and just opening the book, like anything I can help you guys with, that's what I want to do. So without further ado, Clarissa, you ready?
Ready.
Here we go. Be the seller. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Yeah, I was calling about the property here at 1234 Anywhere Lane, and I don't want to bother you, waste your time. I saw it fell off the market, and I just want to know if you're still interested in selling it.
Oh, I don't know. And you're like the 100th person to call me today. I don't know. We tried. We might just end up staying at this point.
So you're having a bunch of phone calls is what I'm hearing. So is it a bunch of buyers? Is it real estate agent? Like, who's calling you?
Oh, today just the phone's been blowing up since like 6 o'clock this morning with realtors wanting to relist the house.
Okay. So they're looking for an opportunity. We can't blame them. The crazy thing is, if you've had hundreds of people call you, there's 48,000 real estate agents in Houston. So man, you got lucky. Could be a lot of people, but you're not being bothered like most. But well, let me ask you something. So you had the property on the market. It looks like you've been on the market for 6 months. It didn't sell. What's going on? Like, why all of a sudden do you not want to sell anymore when you've went through pain for 6 months of not selling? Talk to me about that.
Oh, because I went through pain for 6 months, and now interest rates are creeping back up, and it seems like everybody around us is having to like reduce their prices. And my agent said that like houses, I don't know. So maybe we missed the mark and we have to wait for it to come around again.
Gotcha. So let me ask you a question. If we went back to 6 months ago on that day when you met with the agent, you signed the contract, you agreed to put your house on the market, like I'm betting you were excited when you signed that day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you help me? Like, how do I help you get back to that day when you were excited? What would it take for me to help you get back to being excited like you were when you signed that day?
Oh, well, that I don't know. Like,
Well, here's another question. So what I did, y'all see what I did there, guys, real quick? I kind of played a mind game with her, right? I'm making her think. And when you can make someone Rolodex and think, you don't have to dominate the conversation. You have to control the conversation. I've controlled the conversation where I've asked a question to get her thinking. She's starting to go and revisit that. It's hard for some people sometimes. So now I ask another question. So Clarissa, let me make it a little bit easier for you. If you could tell me like 1, 2, or 3 things that you feel your agent could have done better to get your property sold, what do you think those are?
Well, I think that she did everything, I mean, she did all,
Mm.
we had a bunch of open houses and there were ads. I don't know what else could have happened. We're
So
in a
she,
new construction community, so it seems like
Mm.
everybody's just been sitting on the market.
so she did everything but sell the house. So I guess here's what I'll do. I'll break it down. So there's 4 reasons why a property doesn't sell, right? Market, price, condition, marketing. So here's what I'm going to tell you about the market. I'm looking here in the past 6 months, 13 properties have hit the market and 10 of them is sold. So there's 10 winners and 3 not so winners, and you fell in the not so winner category. So the percentages are actually in your favor to sell. So it's not the market. Well, tell me about the condition. It's a new home pretty much. Is it messed up or is it in great condition? I look at the pictures. It looks amazing.
Yeah, no, I think it's really nice.
Okay, so the market's good, condition's good. So it really only leaves 2 things, price and marketing. Here's the deal. The only way I'll truly know if pricing is right or wrong is if I come and take a look at the property, and I'd love to do that to give you a true analysis. Like I don't want to pressure you anything. I just want to make sure you have the real true numbers to know where your house should truly be priced to sell. The other thing is marketing. What we find is most agents do, they do some basic things, right? You put a sign in the yard, put it on the MLS, and then they pray that someone sells your house. We do other P's. We do a prospecting P, which we're going to reach out to as many people as we can to make sure everybody knows your property's out there, because that's true marketing. And then we do price watching. We want to watch the market so we're truly competitive at the right time to get it sold, because there's triggers in there and you got to be right on it. So if I could show you how to properly market the property and properly price the property to where you can get it sold and be happy and make that move, would you be interested in meeting with me for just 20 minutes so I can show you these things? Because I'm pretty sure it's not the market or condition.
Well, I think if we go back on the market, we would go with our realtor. Like we did, we like our realtor. It wasn't her.
So I get it. Is it about using the realtor or is it about getting your house sold? What's more important?
Well, getting the house sold.
Okay. So what is your agent going to do different that they didn't do last time? Because it seemed to me they had 6 months. They couldn't have changed it in the 6 months. Did they not adjust on a monthly basis, or they just say, we're going to give it 6 months and see what happens? Like, tell me, what are they going to do different?
Well, I guess that's a conversation we'd have to have. What are you going to do different?
And
is
that's
there
the
something that you do
question.
differently on marketing?
That is the best question, and I love it. So here's the deal. If I could show you a better way to sell your property, here's what's going to happen. 1 of 2 things. I can show you a better way to sell your property. If you really like that agent that much, you can actually take my marketing package, give it to them, and they can step their game up. That's usually what happens when somebody chooses to go with the same agent. Or you end up making a really good decision and we go into business together and I get you top dollar for your property and selling the amount of time that makes you happy, and I make the process nice and easy. If any of that interests you, would you be okay with meeting today or tomorrow? We can meet today at 5:30, tomorrow at 4:30. Which one works best for you?
We could do it tomorrow.
Perfect. Tomorrow at 4:30. And will all the decision makers be at the house tomorrow at 4:30?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'll be there tomorrow at 4:30. What I'm going to do as soon as we're going to get off the phone, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to start doing my custom research to come up with the data that's going to help you to get the property sold. I'm also going to send you a confirmation email and then an email that gets you informed on our team and the way we do things so that you're really familiar with who we are. And you also know we're the real deal when we're showing up. But I'm really excited to meet with you and the other decision makers tomorrow at 4:30. I'm going to get to work as soon as we get off the phone. But thank you so much, Clarissa. I really, really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We good? We good? Go ahead. Erica's got a question. What you got?
Hey, Ozzie, thanks for doing this. Sorry, I got my kids in the background, but all that was wonderful. I loved it. One of the things, and I just hope this isn't just coming from a negative mindset, but I was doing Mojo for, I don't want to say, I probably didn't even stick with it long enough to really have a honest and, assessment on it. But I got really discouraged because I didn't even when I was doing my cold calling, they're just pissed off and angry. I came across, and sometimes I'll just click. So the conversation was great, and I'm glad I heard it in full length. But while that was happening, I couldn't help but think I couldn't even get past, like, to get to that level. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna hit you with two things. So it's a lot about mentality, right? So number one, there is something you can say to every human being to keep them on the phone, right? So I say crazy shit. I'll be real with you. There's times, I'm sorry, I cuss a lot. There's times when I'm like, so let's, you be the person. We'll do a real quick role play where you're literally going to give me like maybe 5 to 10 seconds where you're going to say, who's this? And I'm going to tell you, and you're going to click, right?
Right.
Like, be quick with it, just like they would to you.
Okay.
So
right.
ring.
Hello?
Yeah, I was calling about the property at 1234 Anywhere Lane. I just want to know if it's still for sale. I really don't want to bother you.
Are you an agent?
I'm actually somebody who has buyers who
Click.
we're gonna give you more money. Yeah. So, but here's so usually they'll let me finish the sentence. I just say, I have buyers that can pay you more than any other buyers out there.
So automatically you lead with, I'm
throw something out there. Right? Throw something out there that keeps them on the phone and keeps the conversation going. Right? Because here's the deal is, how many of you have been in a competitive market where you are getting outbid, you're raising the price, 5, 10, 20,000, they're calling for highest and best, and you're like, man, this sucks. How many have been there? Yeah, if you've been in this business the last year, you've been there in Houston, Texas anyways. So here's the deal is, we already know our buyers are overpaying for freaking properties. It's happening a lot in Houston. So it's not unfair to say that we may be willing to overbuy your property because that's what's happening right now. So what I did is I used the truth of what's going on in the market to say something that might just captivate you for another second.
So you just have hooks.
That's all you got. You got like 3 seconds to pique curiosity and they're done. We live in an Amazon age, right? We live in an online shopper age. You got like 2 seconds to sell them with that picture. They're gone. It's becoming the same thing on the phone. You got to know what to say to keep them on the phone. The other thing is, they're not mad at you. They're really not mad. They may be frustrated here and there, but truly overall, they just haven't talked to the right person. Right? And that's all it takes. Like one time I, sometimes if they instantly answer, another agent, this is my 100th call. Hey, what if I told you I got a way to make them all stop right now?
Okay.
Whoa, hold on. What are you talking about? Yeah, I got a way we can make them stop, because they're going to keep calling until you say some key words to them. You want me to tell you what to say to them? Yeah.
Yes.
Tell them I hired Ozzie Ramirez to sell my house. They all know me. They're gonna be like, damn, he's good. Okay, and they're gonna hang up. That's how you get rid of them. They will never call you back when they hear my name. You get it?
That.
Change we're talking, this is another human being you're having a conversation with. Don't make it more than it is.
Okay.
Right?
I think I would just get so discouraged and butthurt that I would take it personal. Like, I'm done.
So here's the deal. We need to take ourselves, sometimes we got to alter our mental situation, right? Here's the deal. I know you're from the military, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you had someone in your face in the military?
More than I could count.
Okay. Did you get your feelings hurt and quit the military?
No.
So when did you become such a sissy? Oh my God, Ozzie just punched her right in the heart.
Wow.
Why did you do that? So here's the deal is, be who you are everywhere. Who you were that because here's the deal is, who you are in some places, who you can be everywhere, right? If you're a hard-nosed badass, you can be a hard-nosed badass everywhere. But some reason or another, Erica chooses to play small when she gets on the phone with some random person she don't know. All right? Stop playing small. Go back to those military days and say, dude, I've dealt with some of the worst drill sergeants. This dude ain't got crap on me. I'm in this for the long haul. Stay on the phone, get on the phone, keep them going. Like, say something crazy. They start cussing, say, oh man, you remind me of this drill sergeant I had.
I
right?
like that one.
They start cussing. You know what? You were one of the best cussers I've heard in the past like 3 weeks. Can I send you a gift card? Like, I try to give rewards. You are a badass. Or sometimes I used to say something crazy. I said one time, this guy, I got his listing and it was like a $600,000 listing over in Memorial area. He was like, no, I'm not going to sell this and the other. I go, man, you know what? I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And he was like, what? And I go, well, 1 in every 12 people makes a good business decision and hires me. You're like number 10. So that means in the next 2 calls, I'm going to find a winner that's going to make a better decision to you. I appreciate you getting off the phone with me so quick because I'm going to go talk to the winner next. And he was like, what? And I go, yeah. Do you want to be the winner? And he laughed. And I got his listing. Just change the way. It's a conversation. Say crazy. You're never going to see these people again. Say something off the wall. Like, don't get like written up or like Trek complain, but just say something crazy like, your mom told me to call you. What? I'm just kidding. But I bet you she would if she knew me. So let's talk, right? I'm a good dude. Your mom is a good person too, I bet. Do you know what I mean? Have fun with it. We have bells in our office. If anybody's been to our office, we have bells. If somebody hangs up or cusses at you, you ring the bell and you celebrate. Everybody else rings the bell. I used to do it in front of everybody. I'd ring the bell, we'd celebrate, and then I'd say, guys, my phone been acting up and it hung up on us. So I'm going to call them back because I know they didn't hang up on me. And I would call them right back and I'd say, hey, I'm so sorry. My phone's been acting up. And they'd say, no, it wasn't. I hung up on you. And I'd say, why would you do that? That's kind of mean. And they're like, well, you keep calling me. I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to feed my family. I guess I'm a bad person for that. And I understand. And I just flipped the script and they're like, it's shock and awe. It's crazy. Like, what the hell? What is this dude even like? I promise you, when I come across like that, I am the only one that's come across like that. And I'm the only one they're going to remember when it's all said and done. You know, and that's in this game, that's you got to be. You're either remembered or they don't know who the hell you are. You either got position 1 or 2 in their head or you don't exist. Be position 1 or 2. Say something crazy. Who cares? Just don't cuss or like, don't. I get real crazy, but just watch yourself. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Are we good, guys? We went over 4 minutes. I want to respect your time. I hope we got like amazing value out of this. This is completely recorded. I'm going to pull it down from the cloud. I'll put it in my drive, my Google Drive, and then I'll just share that link with everybody. And then I will go ahead and shoot everyone out the link to the next, the investor course on the 21st. And these are the 2 that I've been wanting to do for a long time. After this, I may never do anything again. I just got this feeling like I need to do this, man. This is fun. And it was really fun, guys. This is a pleasure. I loved it. I hope you got something from it. Thank you so much for listening to any damn word I have to say, because I know I'm crazy. So thank you, guys. We cool? And whatever you do, guys, don't let them haters get you, because they're everywhere. I'm just kidding. Y'all have a great day. Go be a light. Go shine your light, guys. Do amazing things. And keep in touch. If you ever need anything, y'all holler at me.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ozzie.
Thank you.
Oh, he's unmuted everybody.
No, everybody's unmuting themselves. I can hear you, suckers. Are y'all ringing the bells?
Yes.
Get her done. Get her done. Let's go. Thank you, boss. Were you in Colorado?
Yeah, for Collins.
Oh, damn. So you're in a military town, huh?
Not quite, but I'm
Okay.
in Denver.
I got you. I was just in Colorado a couple weeks ago, man. Freaking that snow was beautiful. Say it again.
I'd like to meet you next time.
Yeah, man. I might go back soon. It was freaking awesome.
Awesome. Nice talking
If
to
you
you.
ever need them, man, you holler at me, boss. Okay?
I will. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ozzie.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all humoring me and being on here to listen to anything.